Hi everyone, Almin with you again with another video tutorial. So this video tutorial will have two parts, and in the first part we'll be generally covering how to create a terrain from the heat map. So we'll be cover how to download a heat map from Open Topography website, and how to import it into 3ds Max, and how to create the terrain out of it. So the second video tutorial will be covering how we can use similar settings to create this kind of 3D maps. So as you can see, this is visual representation of the Australian recent fires, and it represents the regions that were affected the most in red color, and the regions that were less affected in kinda yellowish color. So as I explained in the first video tutorial, we're gonna cover and we're gonna touch base a little bit on how to create any kind of terrains. Like the same method is applied on the picture that I just showed you, but we're gonna just touch base on how to create any kind of terrain within 3ds Max. So we're going to be using Open Topography. This is like open source, so you're going to just have to head on to topography.org, and you will have to create your account, and after you create your account, you head on to that website and you go find data map. So that's what we are basically doing now. So that will bring us into this window here. So in this window here, you can see that there are some red blue dots. So those dots are representing the areas, because they are, as you can see on the right top corner here, there are different sources that Open Topography is referring to. So some of them are Open Topography, some of them are USGS 3Deep, and community data space. So one thing to note here is that all those red regions are actually high-res images of the terrain. So for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to be downloading some of those, but as this is United States, let's maybe head on to Australia for a moment and try to download something from there. So let's find some hilly terrain in here. Just as an illustration, should we pick something in here, or let's maybe do this one here, because it does have a little bit of a city, of a street, and a bit of a terrain, and a bit of a sea as a flat level. So yeah, that one should be pretty good. Now you can download the whole region, which is going to take a long and is going to be very heavy file, or you can select manually, which we're going to do in this case by clicking on select a region button here, and we're going to just basically be drawing a section that we want to download. So that's the one, and the thing that is going to appear down below is those different data sources that we can download from. Let's maybe try what is this one, or this one? Yeah, let's try this one, because it's a red dot, and probably represents one of those high resolution images regions. So let's try try this one. Yeah, after we do that, so yeah, that's the region that we want to download a height map for. And bottom below, you can select the preferred file format. So for the purpose of this exercise, we're going to be using GeoTIFF image, and let's say we set up the output resolution to max. Generate hillside images from okay, so maybe if you want to download the colored hillsides, that maybe this may be an option for you. Otherwise, we're going to just keep it simple, and we're not going to need any KMZ files. We're not going to be viewing it into the Google Earth. Let's just proceed and download this one. Okay, so for these purposes, we're going to be I'll just type student here, as this is student work, and job description, let's type urban informatics and modeling. Okay, here's my email, it's just my email address. Yep, so it's up to you. Type up your email address, so you click on submit, and you will be receiving an email very soon. Like you can just give it a second for the data to be obtained and downloaded. So you'll be receiving, if lucky enough, yeah. When it's done, you should receive an email something like this. Yeah. So that's a brand new one. Okay, so your data will be downloaded. I mean, will be available from this source to download. And I'm not gonna download it again because I did the same thing already not long ago for this exercise. And basically, I'll show you how it looks. So basically, when you download the image, it will look something like this. That's high resolution image, which is very detailed, as you can see. And there are some streets here, some objects that are not showing quite 100%, but it's pretty good for those kind of representations. Now, in order to create a height map in 3ds Max, we'll just quickly head on to the 3ds Max now. Okay, so in order to create terrain in 3ds Max, we'll be creating a simple plane here. So if we create a plane, let's say something like this, let's maybe just give it a, yeah, you want to give it a lot of segments. The reason being because so it's a lot of segments. As you can see, it's very dense. So more segments you have on your plane, the more detailed your terrain is going to be. So now next thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to apply some modifiers onto this plane. So if we select plane, we head on to modifiers list, and we're gonna look up for displace modifier. Displace, if you tap that's the one, displace. And for bitmap, we're gonna just be importing the photo that we have downloaded for Open Topography. So you just grab your photo, and you can drop it in here. And if you go back to your perspective view and you select this one, and if you increase the strength, the displacement strength, you're gonna see your terrain appearing slowly. Okay, radio, so that's your terrain now. As you can see, it's pretty detailed, but yeah, so that's how it should look in real life. Now some other modification that we want to do in this one is, let's say we, for example, want to represent the higher elements of this map as one color, and let's say we want to represent some like lower segments such as C, and those lower elements of the heat map, we're going to represent it, let's say, in the blue color. We're going to have to create a gradient map that is can be started from materials, So if you type M on your keyboard, that will bring up this material editor section from which you can actually create new materials and new gradient maps for this exercise. Now for in order to create height map, we're gonna be selecting just please note here that you'll have to be in the standard materials, so which is standard, like right here. Okay, and in the map section you will have to select diffuse color, and in no map you select to gradient. We're looking for gradient ramp map. So gradient ramp, that's the one. Now here you can see that we can create actually if we click on this, so any of those for example, they're going to become green. Now if you do double click, that will bring you color editor. So let's say we want higher section of this map to be red, and let's say we want middle section of this map to be yellow kind of color, and we want the end to be, let's say, blue. Yep. Okay, bang. So that's what I'm talking about. So that's basically what we want to say in our map. So now if we drop this onto our map, and if we drop this into our terrain, so basically what you have to do, just drag and drop. I'll just move this for a sec so you can see better. So if we drag and drop, that will but before that we're gonna have to, like, if we just drag and drop, that will do nothing. The thing that we will have to do is we'll have to apply UVW map from the modifiers. After we actually apply UVW map modifier, and if we just drop the created material, that will give us something like this, which is beautiful result. So as you can see, the higher sections of the map are represented, the terrain are actually represented in red, while the lower sections are represented in blue. So we have exaggerated the height of the terrain a little bit here, which we can decrease by decreasing the strength of the displacement modifier. But yeah, you can still see that the higher sections are represented in different color. Now if we are to edit this, like, we can head on to back onto our materials, and if we click on this one, we can justify, actually we can move the location, so you can see that the scene responds immediately. So as soon as we move the slider, that will give us a, let's say for example we want to create any other color, so we just double click and we press OK. So yeah, it gives pretty cool results. We delay that frame, and you can actually like slide back or forward depending on the preferred outcome.